All right. So here we are, Unit 6 Introduction. So, Unit 6, the Roman Empire. Wow, where to begin? The Roman Empire could be much like the Greek Empire, could be a class all of its own. I mean, every single unit could be a chunk, and even that wouldn't do justice to the Roman Empire. I can say, however, with that being said, compared to the Greeks, we don't pick up as much of our history from the Romans, even though the Romans are very influential on contemporary society. And we look back at the impact that the Roman Empire had on the time period was massive. But where for this particular class, where we see the Roman Empire coming up a little bit short, is that outside of their architecture, and even with their architecture, the Romans didn't make nearly as many advances as the Greeks did. And a lot of what the Romans did accomplish was borrowed from the Greeks, from their view on architecture, even though they did move the bar down. Their religion, I mean, they copied Greek the Greek pantheon of gods and goddesses completely. Their notions of sculpture were very much Greek influenced. Their philosophy, they just went in and pulled out Greek philosophy entirely. They loved it, and then we're going to see the same thing with a lot of their language components. The wealthy people in Rome will speak Greek, and so Roman, which we all come to know as very Latin, I should say. Sorry, Latin is actually the language of the common people, and anyone with any class or clout would typically speak Greek. So philosophy, religion, architecture, some of the major components that we've been looking at are mostly Greek in influence. So, with that being said, Rome still fascinating. I love it. I've listened to tons of podcasts on Rome, and I'm constantly learning new things about it. It's huge. It's so broad. I hope that the brief history of Rome right here that you're going to watch is a little daunting with how much time that it covers, but at the same time, I hope that it gives you some excitement that you have your entire life to learn about the influence of Rome over the modern period. So, with that being said, going to go through here and take a look. You've got a movie on the Colosseum, fascinating. The Pantheon, Epicurus and Stoicism, two philosophies that are pretty uniquely Roman. The Aeneid, which is going to be going back and building upon or pulling from the Iliad and the Odyssey, and it's like the third book of the Iliad and the Odyssey, even though it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of years later. Pretty interesting. Lecture on Ovid, who is a pretty popular poet around the time of Augustus. And then the fall of Rome explained, slightly oversimplified, but explained. And then I want you to pay attention down here because we're going to be moving towards, as you notice over here, I've opened up the midterm exam, and I want you to start focusing and thinking about the midterm exam. So I'm trying not to make this week too daunting for you. I'm trying to make it fairly simple and straightforward, so that you can start focusing on your midterm exam. You have a quiz, you've got your reading response questions, and then the Flipgrid, however, is going to start asking you to reflect on your midterm exam questions. So let's talk about the midterm just for a moment here. Your midterm is a take-home exam. There are 6 questions. You need to answer 5 of the questions. I'm looking for pretty robust answers. Typically, students will write at least a bare minimum of a page per question, and oftentimes 2 pages is kind of more the range. So you're looking at a 5 to 10 page document to complete this midterm exam. So that's why I want you starting to think about it now. All of the questions are open book. All of the questions are open notes. You may use whatever materials you want. I want most of the materials on your midterm exam to come from course content that we've been studying. If you have a source here or there that's interesting, an outside source that you want to bring in, that's okay. Please make sure anything that you use, even if it's course material, If you're, using direct quotes, you have to cite those, you have to quote those. All of your tests will be run through a plagiarism checker. So just don't do it. If you're question, if you have questions about it, let me know and I can help answer those questions. I am going to be posting a couple of videos in the coming days about how to um, turn in, how to submit your midterm, which you've been doing with the reading and response questions. It's pretty much the same process. But I'll talk about the midterm in a little bit more detail there in some of those videos that'll be posted over the next couple of days. So the last thing I want to do before I sign off on this intro video, in the course home, remember we have that calendar and I moved one date trying to help you all out just a little bit. So let's go ahead and look at that date and look at the change. So we have unit 6 and then we have unit 7, which is your midterm exam, and then we continue with unit 8. And what I did is, you can see here, is that it's in the next month. Originally, unit 8 was due on this Tuesday, and I realized that that was just going to be a little tight turnaround. So you've got unit 6 due next Tuesday, just like normal. But I want you, before next Tuesday, I want you to start thinking about and working on this midterm exam, asking me questions, setting up conferences with me if you need to, whatever your process looks like, making outlines for those questions, that sort of thing. And then working on your midterm, working over the weekend. It's due at midnight on Sunday night. And then you've got these until unit 8. I will try to make unit 8 as reasonable as I can. However, we're delving into Islam and Christianity, and we're getting into some pretty robust topics. So I'll keep it in mind, but at the same time, just know that the next couple of weeks is we're in that midterm framework, and it's going to be a bit of a hustle. And if you have questions, you need help, you need support, please, please, please let me know, and I'm happy to be there for you. So with that, that's